You can't come into the club, loud talk somebody, and then when they come out, don't say nothing. Don't call out Iowa and then try to walk it back. Own it. Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Throwdown Thursday edition as we talk about the women's tournament. Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Cotton Man, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Feeling good. Let's get it into these brackets.
All right. So in segment one, best, worst, and most surprising things of the opening weekend of the women's tournament. Segment two, a couple of stories of note. I'll leave it at that. Kim Oki. And in segment three, we still got college football stuff to talk about because football just doesn't like basketball, but we'll get to that in segment three. But first, best, worst, and most surprising things. God, man, I'm going to start off, man. The best thing I saw this opening weekend was that there was no major upsets. It is the best going against the very best. And to use a wrestling example, this is all elite wrestling. This is AEW. Everyone's flexing. South Carolina's beating people. LSU, with all of the distractions, come beat us. I am loving the best versus the very best. Great win by Duke. So again, I love that there's no major upsets. And next weekend, you're going to see, just some really good teams going against some really good teams. What about you, sir? Best thing you saw?
Oh man, the biggest thing for me is Audi Crooks, man. That was the biggest story, man. She had 40 points, in the tournament, and that was great. And then she got a lot of love on the social media, and everybody was showing her mad love. She was unknown by most people, even myself, I guess, even in the LCP. I don't think we knew about her.
No, we have not brought her up.
Right, but she's a baller. She's a baller. So props to her, and showing up in the biggest kind of moments, man, and that's what we're talking about. So those are things that even if you don't make it to the professional ranks, man, that is something you will never forget, and you will hold that onto your heart for you. So I'm glad she had that special moment for real. For real. It was tight. That was the best thing I saw.
All right. So for me, the worst thing I saw was West Virginia's women's basketball coach, Mark Kellogg, trying to walk back some comments. So I'm going to give you a dated reference. Uptown Saturday night, there's a scene that Coach Franchise and I always used to mention, loud talking Little Seymour. You can't come into the club, loud talk somebody, and then when they come out, don't say nothing. Don't call out Iowa and then try to walk it back. Own it. So that's the worst thing I saw was West Virginia. If you're good, then just go blast it, be good, but don't walk it back. And that's the worst thing I saw because you walked back something that you really felt. Well, what was the worst thing you saw?
As we start to move into this a la carte cable, cloud cable kind of thing, YouTube TV, man, let me tell you, you guys did not have it set up at all for the tournament. Let me tell you. I was seeing games. I didn't know if there was women's games or men's games. You were just throwing stuff up there. Multiple screens was terrible. I mean, how can I watch 3 games at once?
Lean at the bar.
Yeah, we're not at the bar, and I can only listen. Like, it's just too much. There should be, and I think this is something that they should look at. Hey, you can always ICP do it. We can do it for you. Let's do like a red zone version. We have somebody who's just holding on, watching the games, and let me get into the action. Let me get to the action. Let me get to the action. We're going on a run. And that's what people want to see, especially in the first 2 weeks of the tournament. Not just, and then you can always watch whatever team based on your school that you watch, but you know this 3 boxes, and I'm over in the bed lying down looking at this is ridiculous, man. Yeah, that was the worst thing I saw, man. That was terrible.
Okay. All right. Most surprising thing. For me, the most surprising thing is that UConn really is an underdog. For like the first time since 05, they didn't get a number 1 or a number 2 seed. They're a 3 seed. They're playing in a tough bracket. And if they're able to make it to the Final Four, they have really, really earned it. And that is surprising that, man, they gotta bring it to do this thing. So good luck to the UConn women Huskies. What about you, sir? It's the most surprising thing.
I'm gonna. I don't say it was the most surprising, but it was a very interesting and heartwarming kind of thing. This is one of the biggest times and biggest moments, especially for the women's tournament. And I had a lot of buddies who had daughters, and they're getting at the age now, maybe like 12, 13, maybe youngest is 10. And they were playing in the women's tournament bracket. And they were, and they're hanging out and they're playing. And, they were texting me. And they're like, yeah, man, she beat me by a little bit. She didn't know about this one or she didn't know about that. They don't know about. So it was just really fun that this kind of connection is happening with the NCAA women's game. And I hope they can continue that, man. And that is going to be their lifeblood. And that was probably the most, not surprising, but heartwarming thing that I saw. I thought that was really cool that I heard about this weekend.
That's awesome, man. So with that in segment two, where there's smoke, there may be some fire. We're going to talk about some stories that came about this week on the Odd Coaches podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment two. Where there's smoke, there's fire, or is there? LSU coach Kim Mulkey threatened legal action against the Washington Post last week, saying that the paper had spent 2 years pursuing a, quote, hit piece. Well, as you know, I am a social studies teacher, and the Washington Post took down a president. So I don't think they're worried about a threat from Kim Mulkey. But let me get a couple of bullet points out of the way before I tag to you. I'm not a fan of Kim Mulkey as a coach, but I know she can coach. And I know she's not everybody's favorite, and she's not my favorite, but I was not every player that I've ever coached favorite too. It's news during the tournament, so we're going to cover it, but I'm going to stay tuned like everyone else. And if and when the article comes out, we'll address it. But I was paused because it appeared that she had a statement pre-done, and man, Brittany couldn't get no love. But that's on me. Will, how'd you feel about the pending news about Kim Mulkey?
I don't know. I mean, she's not a likable person, so it's hard to I kind of don't even pay attention. So to be honest with you, I'm not even really too familiar with the situation. I wasn't just, but every time she comes up, she's always saying something that's inappropriate. She's always saying something outlandish and things like that. And I'm sure it's another thing that got her in and got her hot water. But again, what I'll say this, it's terrible and awful right now with the women's game that's actually making its leap. And you're actually trying to step in there and take the spotlight of something that doesn't really be needed and tarnish what's actually going on. There's a lot of good games going on. There's a lot of young women out there who are balling right now and trying to set up the future of the sport that you set up. No hate. You're one of the founders. And it's kind of messed up that you're trying to take that spotlight to something a little on yourself. So I mean, that's, again, I don't know too much about it, but it's just seems a little petty. I did read some things on Twitter. It was a little petty and things like that. But we should be talking about basketball. We shouldn't be talking about what Kim Mulkey talking about on a post conference type of thing.
And speaking of talking about basketball, will a referee got pulled. So the NCAA changed one of the officials during halftime of the Chattanooga NC State women's game last week because of a quote background conflict. Tommy Paris was removed from the NCAA tournament first round game and replaced with somebody who's worked there because an online profile for Paris indicates that she received a master's degree from Chattanooga. The NCAA asked all officials who are being considered for NCAA tournament to disclose school affiliations to avoid potential conflicts. And in this case, it wasn't disclosed. You're my compliance person. This is some of what you've done in the past. Is this too much? You can't go to a school now? What do you think about that?
It's just integrity. As we start to embark, the sports betting strictly for entertainment kind of thing, it's good to know that there is integrity around. It's probably something that we wouldn't even have known if it happened. If it didn't, if they never pulled the guy or if they pulled the ref, I'm sorry, off the game, nobody would have known. But they did a good job. And then they're up front and say, hey, we overlooked this. And, commendable to the ref. That was they had a lot of integrity as well. I mean, I don't think anybody had really even mentioned that they were calling for his school over anybody. But I mean, how many times would that even happen? I mean, you would have to imagine that has to be like a big thing, especially in like college basketball. And if you're a college ref, what are the odds that you even, not you went all to, but the odds are you probably went to a college. I mean, I don't know how do you make it to be a ref. I don't know the path, but it's good. It's good that they did for the integrity of the game, even though too much, some people like you and me are probably like, come on, guys, we can't, come on. Like, well, but there always are people who are going to say stuff, and, it's better to do it now and later on the back end.
Yeah, and it was Tommy with an I, fans. So it was a she, so please don't send hate mail or anything like
Sorry about
that. All right. So when we get back in segment 3, new TV deal for the college football playoffs. Got to talk about that. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast. And in segment 3, for the love of money, the college football playoffs and ESPN have agreed, Will, to a new 6-year, $7.8 billion contract that ensures that ESPN will remain the sole media rights holder for the college football playoff through the 2031-2032 season. With that being said, the CFP format for this season and next will have 5 automatic qualifiers from the 5 highest ranked conference champions and 7 at-large bids. And then moving forward, they are trying to make that 14. The money breakdown. The financial distribution from the expected 14-team playoff will look radically different. On an annual basis, Big Ten and SEC will be making more than $21 million each. That's an increase from $5.5 million. Okay, that's bad. The ACC will get $13 million annually. Big 12, $12 million. Notre Dame is expected to get more than $12 million that they don't have to share. Meanwhile, the group of 5 will get $1.8 million, and then the Pac-2 will get some spit and shoelace. So my takeaway is that football is destroying basketball, and football doesn't care. As you see, fans, March Madness works. You don't need to add more bum teams. People are watching. Ratings are up. The women's game is on fire. But football says, hold my beer. You're having too much fun. We're going to cut everybody at the knees. Okay. So, Will, what are you thinking about all of this, man?
Oh, I think ESPN is they know where they're going. Move forward. Remember, just last year, I believe it was maybe a year and a half ago, they got rid of a lot of talent. They gutted everything. They hired a lot of young people. They make it a lot smaller, but they gave them better salaries. Because they said the days that we grew up in Sports Center, where you're looking at the personalities and the highlights and stuff, you get highlights everywhere. You got highlights on Twitter. You got highlights on Instagram. You get highlights. My buddy can send me a highlight in game, like when it happens. So I think they understood that, and they said, okay, well, let's focus on the actual product. Let's actually, put money into the people that actually will watch, because there's people who just not even thinking, they'll just turn on ESPN to watch a game. Just the name ESPN. Let me put the game on. Bam. They put the game on ESPN. What team? Especially at the bar. Hey, what channel is the game on? You're like, oh yeah, ESPN. So I think they're just doubling down, and I think that's it's a different product, and they're understanding the platform. They no longer need the personalities. They built up who they are. They don't need the anchors anymore. They don't need anymore. So, that's good for him. So hey, we'll see. Hey, more football for us, more money for everybody else. Things will trickle down and see how things are going to manage and move. But it was good for them. Good for them.
I haven't broken down and gotten ESPN Plus yet. I might have to do that eventually.
We all get it. I think we'll probably be paying for the CFP in something small some way. Or you got to have like Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime, and you can watch it on. It's coming.
Oh, Raw's going to be on Netflix, so
or it may be on Disney Plus.
Don't have that one.
See, now they see a niche. They gotta get you. That's to get you to buy some Disney Plus.
No, I'm not the biggest Star Wars mark. All right, so fans, great opening weekend. It's only going to be better because we've got elite teams playing. So on behalf, Captain for Life, Will Cotton, Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the iCoaches podcast. We'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at iCoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.